Welcome to Ask Shannon, a place for grace, where one mother's passion and determination for her child, diagnosed with a rare disease, was suddenly faced with saving the life of her special needs child. This became her only focus. When the life of her child was threatened, Shannon Kinnett's instincts led her away from conventional medicine. She desperately found an alternative, natural approach, and the outcome was astounding. Shannon shares her knowledge and Grace's story, now full of hope and happiness.
And now, Shannon Kennett.
A question that I find very difficult to talk about, but that I get asked a lot, is how do you continue to do therapies, especially things like hyperbaric oxygen therapy, when you have differences of opinions with your loved ones? And by this I mean when you're searching for something for your child and maybe your loved ones don't agree with what you're wanting to do, your extended family, your parents, your grandparents, your husband, your wife. And I fell into that situation. You know, we were told by the conventional medicine physicians to take Grace home, to let her die, to spend as much time as we could, and to let her go. And of course, as a mom, it wasn't something that I could do. And I didn't know hyperbarics was going to help Grace, but I knew that I had to try everything that I knew about in order to let her go so I could be a good mom to my other daughter, Lily. And I guess my suggestion to families would be this: when you're faced with that, when you're faced with turmoil in your family, no matter what the situation may be, you truly have to go with your inner strength. You have to go with your inner gut, your intuition of what you're able to do so that you can move forward in your life. And I remember those days sitting with even my mom and my dad and them saying, you know, this is going to be a long journey. Are you sure that you can do this? My aunts and uncles, my brothers in mainstream medicine. And it was just one of those things that I remember saying to them that, listen, I have to do this for me, and I have to do this for Grace, and I have to do this for Lily. And either you're with me or you're not with me. But right now, I have to be there for my daughter. And as much as I loved my extended family, I loved my parents, and I loved my friends, at the end of the day, what mattered was what was mattered to me. One thing I did learn through this process, though, is that you also have to understand that it is okay for those others around you to have a difference of opinion. And I was one of those people that I felt strongly about not wanting to go through a divorce situation. I didn't get married till I was 30. I wanted to have everything in place, the white picket fence, the careers, everything. And because I came from a family of I was a product of a divorce, and I wanted that not to be that way for my children. And one thing I learned is that men and women think differently, grandparents to you think differently, and that you have to be okay with other people not agreeing with you. And it doesn't mean that they don't love you. It doesn't mean that they don't want what's best for you and for your child, but they're not living it like we live it every single day. And so it's really super important that you remember that at the end of the day, that you're going to have differences with people. And what you need to do to get through those days is figure out for you what it means. What is it that you want for you, for your special needs child, for your typical child, for your family, and then go for that. And it doesn't matter what everybody else around you is thinking, because they're not the ones that are going to get up in the middle of the night dealing with a seizure. They're not the ones that are going to have to administer all the medicine, change the feeding tubes, pick out the wheelchairs, and do all those things that we have to do for our children. You're the only one that's going to be able to do that. And so you have to live with the choices that you make for your family. But once your family sees that, and they see your determination, and they see the strength that you have, let me tell you, it was a trigger effect in my family. The minute that they knew that I was not going to give up hope on Grace, they joined. And let me tell you, I couldn't do it without my family. I have incredible family support now because I put myself around positive people. I won't let people in my life that are going to bring me down or tell me that I can't do something or tell me that I'm doing something wrong. And it is hard. One case that I think of that comes to mind often is that in the beginning, when I first started hyperbarics, before it was more readily available to families, it was really expensive. It's not like it is now. And I had to raise a lot of money, which meant that I had to rely on other people to give donations to me. And that's a very humbling experience, and it sometimes can be a very degrading experience to have to go out and tell them about your child, raise money asking for help. I'm glad that I was able to swallow my pride and do that, because I would not have been able to do hyperbarics without the support of my community and the people around me and my friends and family that said, okay, Shannon has her mind set to something, she's going to do it, and we're going to support her. So you have to be open to being able to swallow your pride, to accept help from others, to understand that it's okay for your mom or your dad or for the grandparents or the aunts and uncles not to necessarily agree with you. Doesn't mean that they don't love you. And I went through that stage where I thought, how can you tell me to let Grace go if you love me? Because if I let her go, I won't be me anymore. And I learned that it isn't about that. It's just about differences of opinion and finding the strength that I had to have inside me to continue to go. So if you're in that situation right now where maybe the people that are around you aren't agreeing with what you're doing, but you feel really strongly about what you're doing, do it. Because every single time that I have felt so strongly about some therapy for Grace and others around me were telling me it's too expensive, it's not proven, it's not this, it's not that, I'm like, you know what? I don't care. For some reason, I want to do it and I feel that it's going to help Grace. And then if it doesn't, then I only have myself to go, okay, well, that one didn't work. But at least I tried it. And at least I can go move forward and find something else that's going to help. And it's just really, really super important that you surround yourself around positive people. Another situation I can recall, and I've talked to many families around the country that say the same thing, is that it's okay to have those differences. And I remember being in a room and my family, we called in our family priest, and they were trying to convince me to let Grace go. And I remember saying to them that I was sitting there and I got really angry. And I got up and I said, you know what? You keep saying that I'm supposed to let Grace go, this, when it's her time, it's her time. But I said, no, this is my time, because I think that I'm the one that's being tested here, that I'm being tested to know that I can do more for my daughter. So I turned it around into something that I was the one being tested and that I needed to do everything that I could do in my power. And that ventured me into hyperbaric therapy. And had I not had that drive inside me to say, wait a minute, this is my decision. This is my daughter. You're not the one that's going to have to go and pick out her casket and go visit her memorial every year. That would be me. And so I decided in that moment, in that room, and I stood up in front of our priest and I just said, if either you're with me or you're not with me. And it doesn't mean that I don't love you, Mom and Dad, and my brothers and all my cousins. It just means that I can't have you in my life right now, because I have to concentrate on my daughter and my family and what I feel is right for my family. So don't ever feel that what you're feeling is wrong, because at the end of the day, it's your feeling and you have to own it and you have to do something with it. Had I not done that, I know without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, had I not stood up that day and taken charge of my life and my child's life, that I would be visiting Grace at her memorial, that I wouldn't be watching her swing on swings and play and swim by herself and tease her sister and laugh at Disney movies. I wouldn't have any of that. All those memories would never have occurred had I not had that drive to do hyperbaric therapy. And it's important that you know that you can do that, and you have that will inside of you to push forward for your own child, because nobody's going to be a better advocate for your child than you. And you have the strength. I never imagined that I would have ever been able to do all the things that I've been able to do with Grace. Nobody expects this. You didn't expect to have a child with special needs or a loved one with special needs, but guess what? You got dealt the hand. And so now you can either choose to just sulk in it and feel bad and not do anything, or you can say, you know what? Dang it, I'm going to get up and I'm going to do something, and I'm going to try every single thing. And if it doesn't work, then I know that I did everything. And if it does work, look what you had to gain. Because I had nothing to lose. I was going to lose my daughter. Why wouldn't you try something for your loved one if there's nothing else out there for you to do? So don't give up that hope and keep that inner drive going to know that there is something else out there. Because I know had I not done hyperbarics, it would have been a completely different story for me. And I also tell parents that I think it's really, really important that you take the time to feel sad. I know earlier I said, don't sulk. There is a time for crying. I lost something. I thought I was going to have a sister that was a normal, typical sister for my older daughter, Lily. I thought that I was going to be going to 2 proms. I thought that my daughter would be going to birthday parties, that she would be having her first date, that she was going to be able to drive a car. all those things are taken away from you. And so you do have to go through a grieving process. And it's okay to feel sad. Get rid of that, grieve, cry, and move on. Just like you would in a normal life when you lose somebody. You move on. Life moves on. And you have to do that. It's just a different life. But let me tell you, as bad as this may sound, I couldn't imagine my life. I could not imagine it any other way than it is today, because Grace has shown me what the word grace means for real, and she's taught me about not taking life for granted, how to fight, how to feel honored to be her mom. And so she has given me more than I know I would have ever been able to have in my life. And meeting the hundreds of families I've met throughout the last 13 years, the thousands of talks that I've given, that inspires me. When a family writes me a letter and says, "Thank you for sharing Grace's story, I did something," I would have never had that feeling. I would have never really known what it truly meant that I made a difference in somebody's life, because both of my daughters have made a difference in my life. So have that grieving, move on, kick some butt, get out there and be an advocate for your child. And when it comes to hyperbarics, there's really no reason why you shouldn't be trying it. Again, it's safe, it's natural, it's available to you. And again, if you can't find a place, look me up. You can go to shannonandgrace.com. I'd be more than happy to help you find a facility near you or help you find a way to get hyperbarics into your home. But don't ever give up hope. And when you feel like you're giving up hope, go back to these videos and watch Grace. You've seen her go from a wheelchair to running to swimming on her own. That's possible for anybody. But it's not possible if you don't have hope, and it's not possible if you continue to feel sad about what you lost. We all feel sad in life, but you can't be sad all the time. You have to do something with it. So get up, do something, and make a difference, not only for your family, but for all those around you that will now see that you made a difference. Everybody has a trickle effect. Somebody motivated me to do something. I'm now motivating other parents to do things. We're all in this together. And as much as that line may seem corny, we are. We are all in this together. We all are human beings. We all have feelings. We all have goals. We all want things for our family, for our loved ones, for our friends. So don't shut people out. Open the door to people that are supportive. Give people time that don't understand, people that maybe take it different. Men and women, I'm going to say it right here, they think differently. Men want to fix everything immediately, and when they can't, they don't know how to handle those emotions. I ended up in a divorce because of certain situations, because of that. But it didn't mean that he didn't love Grace any less than I loved her. So you just need to understand that we think differently, and that we need to just do what makes our heart and what we can do to move forward in order to be the best parent that we can be for our child. And remember, again, when you have hope, anything is possible. That is one thing that I will give 110% guarantee on, that if you have hope, you can move mountains for your child.
Please share this information with anyone who is facing special needs or health concerns at any age. Shannon's goal is to help as many people and parents as possible. If she can save you any heartache sharing the knowledge of what she has learned, that saved her daughter's life, and possibly save you tens to even hundreds of thousands of dollars in resources that she spent, her goal is accomplished. Please visit shannonandgrace.com for continued updates and free resources. Send her an email with your questions. Subscribe to her YouTube channel. She is here to help you and will do all she can to assist.